Hey, this is C&D Channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my UFC on FuelTV 9 post-fight analysis. Overall, it was a good card. I missed a couple of the prelims, but from what I've read, there's some really good finishes. First of all, knockouts and submissions. The main event, not the most aesthetically pleasing, but Mousasi got the win that we kind of expected him to get. But overall, on paper, this was a really fun card. As far as my picks go, I got 11 out of 13. The two fights I missed were Akira Karasani versus Robbie Peralta and Reza Madadi versus Michael Johnson. As far as bonuses go, Conor McGregor earned knockout of the night. Reza Madadi got submission of the night. And Pickett versus Easton got fight of the night. So, let's get started. Gegard Mousasi beat Ilir Latifi by unanimous decision. I read that after this fight that Mousasi actually was fighting on an injured knee. And he's expected to get knee surgery. So, that, besides fighting just a really, I guess conservative fight, it's definitely excusable. But man, he jammed Latifi like a million times. I mean, Mousasi's really on, especially when he can establish range. And he was able to do it here, man. He had his arms down sometimes, Latifi was resigned to throw winging punches and overhands. Some one or two connected, but for the most part, straight punches from Mousasi. I didn't see this urge from Mousasi to really finish the fight. To critique his performance, though, I did feel that I wish he could have followed up some of his jabs. That's a big thing. I thought head kicks were there. Latifi he kept circling to his left, to Mousasi's power side. Right head kick. Maybe, the right cross, which he hit a couple times. But otherwise, it's a good performance from Mousasi. Forgivable in the sense that, this is a new opponent. And he still just outclassed the guy. I think that Mousasi was more expected to finish, and he didn't. But, I gotta say, it's a forgivable performance. I think had he fought Gustafsson or someone else, we'd just see a totally different fight. So, he got the win. He got his first win in the UFC. And hopefully it can be more on the up and up for Mousasi after that. And after his second surgery, that's a problem, This guy, he keeps getting shelved, which isn't good for his career. With Latifi, just more. From what I read, he is getting other fights, or another fight in the UFC. Fight the lower to mid tiers in this division, given your Anthony Paraches, your Cyril Diabates, your Igor Prokrayak, and guys like that. Okay, next fight after that, Ross Pearson beat Ryan Couture by TKO in the second round. This fight kind of went as I expected, but Couture did a little better than I thought he would, actually. He did the right game plan, He pinned him up against the cage, tried to get that takedown, hit some dirty boxing, used movement, and, didn't overcommit to anything, but overall, Pearson's just a better fighter. He's showing a lot more power. His ending salvo, I think he missed, I don't know how many punches there were, 8 to 10. He missed, one of those punches, Dropped Couture with the left. He has Pearson has a really good left hook. And just pounced on him and knocked him out. Pearson's now back on at the right weight class at 155. He definitely is in the right weight class. As far as he should fight next, I'm trying to think of more mid. Maybe like a Sam Stout. yeah, Sam Stout's coming off a good win over Carlos Fedor. I think Stout has what, so yeah, that'd be a pretty good fight. Or you can do, geez, that one guy who just beat Darren Cruikshank. I totally forgot his name. Trains at TriStar. If you want to get another stand-up guy, though, Anthony Njokuani or Ross Pearson, that'd be pretty cool as well. I would kind of go more towards the stand-up type of fighters. But, I mean, even if you give him grapplers, Ross Pearson has some good takedown defense. He primarily uses hands, he's good at getting back to his feet when he is taken down. So, yeah, I'm curious to see what's next for Pearson here. Okay, next right after that, Matt Mitrione KO'd Philip DeFries in 19 seconds in the first round. If you watch the replay of, it looks like DeFries just hit a brick wall and got, knocked down, but I think Mitrione kind of hit him, a little behind the ear first and just ground and pounded him. Should I say the curse of the Black Zones is lifted? I don't know. It's tough to say. This was definitely Mitrione's fight to lose. I expected him to win. Felt the freeze. He's been knocked out by Stipe Miocic and Todd Duffy. Not surprised someone with heavy hands like Mitrione beat him. And, I'd probably say Mitrione's job because he lost to Congo and then he got knocked out by Roy Nelson. So, he's improving. It's just, he's getting a bit older and it kind of seems like he's just going to be another, mid-tier guy. As far as I should give him next, I know Sean Jordan's fighting someone kind of tough and I forgot who it was. Sean Jordan. I don't think he'll fight Pat Barry, but maybe if Sean Jordan wins his fight, give him Matt Mitrione. Mitrione versus Schaub would be good as well. But yeah, just someone kind of more lower to mid-tier for Mitrione. Philip DeFries is probably going to get cut from the UFC. Got knocked out here. Got knocked out by Todd Duffy in his last fight. And as much as they need heavyweights, they cut Mike Russo, who's a really solid heavyweight. They also cut LeVar Johnson, but of course, he was caught. He tested positive for a banned substance. So as much as they need heavyweights, I don't think they absolutely need to keep these heavyweights as well. Next fight after that, Brad Pickett beat Mike Eason by split decision. Really fun fight. Got fight tonight. Really got to see what Easton has too, because Easton has a really bad tendency to underperform. You saw it at the Rafael Sancho fight. And the Evan Menjivar fight, he looked good, but there's just something about the guy that never seen so really, you always never see his best. And I feel like I saw, some of his best. His striking was good. His wrestling was really strong. His ability to scramble, you got to see it all here from Easton, and it was good to see. It was high level. That was the thing, because a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, this guy's overrated," blah 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 blah. It's like, I finally got to see why. Even in a loss like this, I think he justified being a top 10 guy at bantamweight. I think he just acquitted himself really well because he's just had so many flat performances. Brad Pickett, man, always fun in a fun fight, win or lose. I like watching this guy. Man, this guy's good everywhere. His stand-up's good. His defense in the stand-up's not that good, but his chin is just great. He hits hard. He tries to finish. His ground game's really good and underrated. I can't bring that up enough. His wrestling's good. But his overall Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, man, he can't keep this guy on the ground, and his scrambling ability is really slick. Man, I always like what I see from Pickett, So, yeah, good one for Pickett. As far as who he should fight next, jeez, I know Sancho is fighting, Vaughn Lee next. If a Sunshine beats Lee, go Sunshine Pickett. Sheesh, I don't know who else is climbing up in the division right now. Yuri Alcantara would be a good fight because I think very highly of Yuri. That's based more on perceived skill than merit of resume at this time, though. But yeah, I'd like to see Pickett just fight more top 10 guys at this time. Maybe the winner of Faber Jorgensen, actually. That would be pretty fun as well. He's fought Jorgensen before, and that was a fun fight. But I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch if Jorgensen wins. And Faber versus Pickett is a new, fresh matchup as well. Next fight after that, Diego Brandao beat Pablo Garza by arm triangle in the first round. I'm impressed with Brandao, man. I gotta say, I said it in the predictions, but this guy's pacing himself so much better now. He's fighting smarter, and I really like seeing that. He's not just going balls out, getting knocked down by like Bermudez because he runs into punches. Took the fight to the ground, and man, his ground game's stellar. Man, he'd get mount, and he'd transition to side if Garza's shrimping, and then like go back to mount, transition to side mount. I mean, it's just stellar stuff from Brandao. This guy's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, really good. I want to say he turned a corner. I really do. Because I think what was missing was his pacing, which affects his cardio and his overall recklessness. You're seeing him really shore up his weaknesses, and you're seeing that striking's always solid and his ground game's really good. Garza's always in a fun fight, win or lose. Hopefully he gets another fight, but he's probably just fight more mid to lower tier. I'd like to see Brandao get a step up in competition at 145. You can give him like the Dustin Poiriers. I know he lost to Darren Elkins. But like I said, that was still Diego Brandao wild. The guy who like only fights like there's only one round. A lot of the top featherweights are booked, but there's like the winner of Seaver versus Swanson, the winner of Lentz versus Elkins. Who's Hacker Diaz fighting? I forgot. I think Hakan Diaz is fighting someone. Or else if you want to go a little lower than that, you can go Diego Brandao versus like Manny Gambarian or something like that. But yeah, I'm really impressed from what I saw from Diego Brandao here. Next fight after that, Akira Kawasani beat Robbie Peralta by unanimous decision. I'm impressed with Akira Kawasani here. I didn't give him a chance. To be perfectly honest with you, I've been super impressed with Robbie Peralta. I called him a dark horse prospect in the division, and Kawasani used movement, mixed in some wrestling in here, and got rounds 1 and 3 for sure. I don't think he got round 2 because of the way he almost lost the fight and almost got finished. Peralta hits hard, but he's not very mobile. He's a strong dude, but Kawasani, was using a lot of movement to kind of, I guess perplex Peralta. He wasn't fighting within phone booth range that Peralta seems to like. And I was impressed with him because Kawasani in his last fight against Ogle, they both looked so average, And in this fight, Kawasani actually looked like, he looked below UFC caliber. And in this fight, he actually looked like a UFC caliber guy. I'm not saying he looked great or anything, but he looked really improved. And he beat a good guy. Robbie Peralta is a good featherweight. A UFC quality featherweight. So, it's a good one for Kawasani. I think he should just fight more lower to mid-tier guys in the division. If you want to give him like a Dennis Bermudez or something, you can, give him that rematch. Heck, you can even give Matt Grice, even though Grice lost to Bermudez. Peralta just needs to fight more lower to mid tier of his division. But yeah, I was impressed with Karasani. I was actually very surprised by what I saw from him. And on to the prelims. Reza Madadi beat Michael Johnson by it was by a Darce choke in the third round. I used to see Michael Johnson as a pretty good prospect, and in these last two fights, he's shown some pretty bad takedown defense. I think one problem is that maybe overcommits to the punches, because I see a lot of guys duck under his punches and get the takedown from there. One of the things that's really troubling with Michael Johnson here is that in the first round he looked good. He defended some of the takedowns. The biggest problem was that Reza Madadi would get a single, and then he'd get a trip takedown from the single. And Michael Johnson seemed to fall for that particular takedown all the time. Call it the curse of the Blackzilians. I don't know. He still didn't. In the first round he looked good off his back, and on the ground. But man, he needs to work on his ground game. Most of his losses are by submission. His ground game and is just not up to par where it needs to be. Wouldn't even surprise me to see him get cut, considering it's 2 losses in a row now. Madadi fought his fight, though. He sticks, he'll grab a leg, he'll grab something, push you against a cage. He's stuck to you like glue, gets the takedown, works top control, really busy on top, will work for a submission. That's his thing. And he did it to the T here. I like Reza Madadi's post-fight interview. He's a really funny guy. He has a colorful personality. Good fighter. I can't see him getting too far. His striking still needs a lot of work. I gotta wonder what happened against guys that can defend his takedowns. But yeah, he definitely has a role in the UFC. But yeah, good win for Madadi. I'd like to just see him fight more mid to lower tier of his division. Okay, next after that, Tortrong beat Adam Silva by rear naked choke in the first round. Adam Silva, this guy, he got knocked out by Uriah Hall by a spinning back kick. Lost by rear naked choke to Tor. That was a good fight, but Tor is just a lot more experience, and it showed in this fight. With Thor, just more lower to mid tiers of his division. With Sella, I don't know if he's UFC caliber yet, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think he is. He might be a case, because he only has 5 professional MMA bouts. He might actually be a case where fighting outside the UFC might actually do him good. Yeah, good win for Thor there. Okay. Next fight after that, I didn't get to see this, but Adlan Amagon beat Chris Spang by unanimous decision. Saw some gifs here, though. Some of the kicks that this guy did were pretty awesome. He did also like a German suplex to Spang that was really cool. Amagon definitely has the flat. Has some flashy moves. I always liked him in Strikeforce. And, I see some positive things for him in the UFC. He has good grappling, Sambo background, and his stand-up's good. It's really diverse. The only problem is with his stand-up is he can get kind of reckless. But otherwise, he's a good fighter. He's fighting under Jackson's, and he's someone I'm still going to keep an eye out for. Chain's weight division seemed to look good, from what I heard. He went 3 rounds and pretty much dominated, Spang is still young in his career. Maybe sometime, I don't know if he'll stay in the UFC. He might also be one of those guys that maybe not being in the UFC could help him. Well, yeah, next fight after that, Conor McGregor beat Marcus Brimage by TKO in the first round. The way McGregor fought here was pretty much the way he fought outside the UFC. This guy's accurate too. If you watch actually the finishing salvo, starting with the uppercut, he hits an uppercut and like 2 other punches before Brimage goes down. It was just really good stuff here. And then he got the finish. There's a really good chin on him, dude. Brimage was getting some good hits, but McGregor just walked through it, you know. Funny guy, too, you know. Lots of personality. One of the only, like, Irish fighters in the UFC right now. I'm curious to see who they give him next. I know some people are saying Diego Brandao. I actually don't like that fight. I think Brandao, especially coming off he's on a 2-fight win streak. He's been in the UFC for a while now. Needs a bit of a step up. But Conor McGregor, you know, I'm curious to see his ground game before jumping on the bandwagon. His stand was good, and he's accurate. I mean, really, really accurate. And really aggressive as well. Good chin. I like to see him fight more lower to mid-tier guys in the division that are primarily more stand-up guys. I mean, Brando's not the worst guy to give him, but I think there are other guys that would be a better fit for Conor McGregor, to be perfectly honest with you. Can't really think of them on top of my head right now. But yeah, good win for McGregor. Great debut for his UFC debut. Next after that, Ryan LaFleur beat Ben Holloway by unanimous decision. Didn't get to see that fight, so I can't really tell you what happened there. Good win for LaFleur. You know, it's his UFC debut, and he was undefeated. He's still undefeated, so good win there. Lower to mid-tier of that division. Tom Lawler beat Michael Cooper by a guillotine choke in the second round. I missed that fight as well. Good win for Lawler. His guillotine choke is really good. He actually hit that UFC 100 against C.B. Dalloway. Tom Lawler's always going to be... The problem with Lawler, though, is he's always going to be like that mid-tier gatekeeper guy. You know, it's like his striking isn't bad. His wrestling's pretty good, and his jiu-jitsu's good as well. I think the problem is, like, his strength is his wrestling, but, like, he's not stellar at any one thing. You know, he's in generally fun fights, except for that Francis Coleman fight. That was really bad. Michael Cooper, on the other hand, he's still young. I think the UFC will keep him. From what I read, I think he got some judo takedowns on Lawler in the first round. You know, good, solid fighter, but, you know, he's fighting more lower to mid-tier of the division. Both these guys, actually. And finally, Papi Abedi beat Bassam Youssef by split decision. Didn't see that fight. Youssef's probably going to get cut. I heard, from what I read from the fight, Papi didn't see... He seems to have some really bad cardio issues, first of all. I know he has a judo background. But, you know, it's... When you're getting split decisions with guys like Bassam Youssef, no offense to Youssef or anything, it's just... You know, you're barely hanging on in the UFC right now. I guess he's fighting more lower to mid-tiers of this division. And yeah, that's pretty much it for my UFC on FuelTV 9 post-fight analysis. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.